Ari, I would love to know and tell people when they buy a bottle of whiskey, what are they getting? When they buy a scrambled egg, they know it's eggs, salt, and pepper. Whiskey, people get lost because they think all alcohol are the same. And I always tell them there's pizza and there's meat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people always ask me, well, what's your favorite drink? I tell them when I'm not next to one, I love the one I'm next to. There's always a time and a place.
Absolutely.
So what is whiskey? What does it mean to you? And where are we? Because I can't see through this glass.
Absolutely. Whiskey is a distilled spirit made from grain and aged in oak barrels. So right now we are making a batch of single malt whiskey. If you can see here, there's a mix of malted barley and water where we're activating the enzymes in the barley, extracting sugars, and then we'll ferment that, we'll distill that, and we'll age that in oak barrels for several years.
Okay, so once you put in the wheat in here, right? Distill it, what do? You add yeast here or later?
We actually add it into one of those tanks, so I think a better shot would be if we were to swing around there.
So follow me.
After mixing grain in hot water and extracting those sugars, we pump it over here into one of our 6 500-gallon fermenters. Here we'll add yeast, which will eat the sugars and give off alcohol and a lot of the flavor that we're looking for. Now, if we were a winery or a brewery, that would essentially be your final product, a fermented product.
So there's different yeasts?
Yes. And so depending on the product that we're using, I will use different yeast strains to try to coax different flavors from the raw materials.
Okay.
So if we were a winery or brewery, that would essentially be our final product. But as a distillery, there's going to be a couple more steps for us to make our whiskey or our rum.
I'm ready. I'm following you.
Excellent.
So I want to understand, whenever I go to whiskey distillers, I see these little, and I always think of being on a submarine or something.
Yeah.
So what is this?
This is our stripping still. We have 2 stills. This is the larger one. So after fermentation, we will pump that alcoholic liquid into here and distill it. What's going to happen is it's going to cause that to boil, and because alcohol boils at a different boiling point than water, we're able to separate that alcohol and that flavor and capture it.
What do you mean it boils different than water?
It has a lower boiling point than water. So inside here, everything is boiling. And when you boil, it creates vapor. What's going to happen is that vapor is going to be mostly alcohol, and most of the water and other higher boiling point things are left behind. So we're able to separate this out.
So people who don't drink are left behind. Because I have alcohol in my body.
There you go.
The ones that don't are left behind.
The last portion of our distilling process happens here, which is in our finishing still. This will be the second of the 2 distillations, and here, depending on the product that I'm making, I can run this still differently. For a single malt whiskey or a heavier spirit, I can run it as a simple pot still right through there to the condenser where it gets condensed back into liquid. If I'm making a lighter product, and that includes
like
rum,
vodka,
vodka
okay.
We use this as well, definitely our rum. We'll run it through here, which is a column. It has several different plates, which create liquid levels that essentially act as separate distillations.
So it's only the distilled, really how do you call the product that we're drinking? What is it?
I would call it spirit. It's a distilled spirit. So
spirit.
Yeah, it's essentially the alcohol that's been separated from the raw ingredients, from the yeast, and sort of refined. And depending on the spirit that you're making, you want it more or less refined.
So what do you do with the rest of the stuff?
It goes down the drain. So we're talking about essentially water, yeast, things that...
And barley, what do you do with the actual barley?
Well, with the barley, that's actually a really interesting question. I have a relationship set up with a local farmer where I will give him about 4,000 pounds of barley every single week, and he'll feed that to his animals. He feeds it to cows, ducks, he's got some goats as well. 2 weekends ago, I actually made a duck that he had given me, which sort of completes the whole circle.
Oh, wow. Are they excited? Are they, you can see that they're a little happy?
Yeah, they're excited at the time. I don't know if they're really anticipating what's coming, but they seem to love our grain. And so it's awesome because that improves sustainability as well, where we're able to take a byproduct of our process and use it for some good.
I'm always thinking, like, what do people do with the barley?